I'm proud to support Marsy's Law, which will amend the state constitution to ensure crime victims and their families are treated fairly in Florida. Florida stands with the victims. We have taken important steps in our state to protect those who need it most, and we must continue to do that in the future.
We're here today to talk about crime victims' rights and Constitution Revision Commission Proposal 96, called Marsy's Law for Florida. What Marsy's Law for Florida would do is enshrine into our state's constitution rights and protections for crime victims and the families that they often leave behind when there has been a tragic loss of life.
Victims of crime deserve to have their voices heard, be protected, and have equal constitutional rights. Today, I'm proud to announce my support of Marsy's Law.
The Florida Constitution is the foundational document of our state, and I also believe the Florida Constitution identifies values that are important to the public. So Marsy's Law, the protection of victims, I believe ultimately is a value proposition and belongs in the Florida Constitution.
Victims' rights is an important issue in Florida. It's growing in importance, and frankly, victims have been left behind under existing laws that are only in statute. They're not enforced, or they're enforced infrequently. So by placing and enshrining victims' rights in the state constitution, I believe it's an expression of our values as a people, the people of the state of Florida, that we are going to protect victims when we value them, and we want to make sure they have a voice.
I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse from the time that I was 10 years old until I was 16. And while that was horrific and devastatingly painful, going through the judicial process was a re-victimization all over again.
These rights are the right to be present at any court proceeding related to a victim's case, the right to speak at a perpetrator's plea hearing or sentencing, especially if the outcome may result in the offender's release, and the right to know if the person who victimized them is about to be released from prison. And putting these rights into the Florida Constitution corrects a wrong that has occurred for far too long.
So the breakdown in the criminal justice process that I see working with survivors is the perpetrators, the abusers, in my world, the traffickers and the pimps, have more rights than the victim does.
I believe that victims deserve rights and that we have a right to be heard, not to have more rights than the accused, but to have equal rights.
I want my fellow commissioners to support Marsy's Law because it's good policy and it's common sense.
Marsy's Law does not take away rights from the accused. All it does is make their voice equal to that of the perpetrator.
It gives rights to the victims.
Look at Marsy's Law's track record in the states where it has passed. It has worked. And I think that's the most compelling case.
I'm urging every CRC member to vote in favor of the meaningful proposal to ensure it reaches the 2018 ballot, so all Floridians have the opportunity to stand in support of crime victims and their families. Crime victims in Florida deserve enforceable constitutional rights. It's time for Marsy's Law.